Listen to the gospel today. Here are people doing their own business, living life their own way, being good people. Peter, James, John, and Andrew, being fishermen. Jesus begins their call by proclaiming just one word: repent. Repent and believe in the good news. So really, he is sitting there saying to them, I know what you're doing now, and it is very, very good. But I want to change your life and start following me completely. Repent, follow me. And they left everything behind. God calls us by name: Peter, James, John, and Andrew. At the 8:30 Mass, we welcome 4 people into the church that are going on their inquiry journey for RCIA. God called them by name: Chandel, Renee, Bill, and Lucille. We know that God calls us out of love, and we have to respond. Everybody here, every single person, has been called by name. Your plan for your life is already done. Our question is, I do not know what to do. Our question should be, what does God want me to do? If you are 80, God still has a plan for you. If you are infant or a student, God still has a plan for you. If you are a millennial or a teen, God has plans for you. So what you and I have to do is surrender every day to God's plan and ask God, what do you want of me? Today, God calls you into an intimate relationship. God has this plan. It is to be a disciple. Perhaps we are in darkness and yearn to experience what the community referred to in today's first reading. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who dwelt in the land of darkness, on them light shined. And when your life is surrendered to God, you will see and feel a great light. You and I will see his vision and plan for us laid out before us. That is his promise. Following Jesus does not happen in the abstract. It happens in the context, circumstances, and relationships in our lives. Our relationship with Jesus is grounded in experience with the people and events of our lives and our world. Every one of these moments within our lives is a turning point, like the lives of Peter, James, John, and Andrew. They are the intersection of our lives and his life. This does not happen in spite of our life circumstances, but through our life circumstances. As I marvel at the courage and faith of the early disciples, I also marvel at sometimes my own lack of. I know the story. The disciples did not. I know that Jesus will die for me and be raised. I know the good news. And yet there are still times when Jesus says, "Follow me," and I resist. Maybe that is true for you too. But remember, Jesus is saying, you are enough. just as you are. Follow me. The children of St. Joseph's School shared with me they know the story of Jesus. On the first Tuesday of every month, adoration is in the church. The students come and they sit in silence, spread amongst the whole church. And in the silence and in praying to Jesus, they've shared with me they hear Jesus speaking to them. They hear him telling them stories about the trickling water of the baptismal font, of the ill in their family, of the family stories that Jesus shares with them. Sometimes very personal stories. You see, they know the story. They know Jesus. We simply do not know why the fishermen followed Jesus. Following Jesus always means leaving something behind. And sometimes our friends and our families will have a hard time approving or even understanding our decision. To truly follow Jesus also means we sometimes do not know where we are going. Sometimes, in order to hear the voice of Jesus, we have to get out of the ordinary of our lives and go to the extraordinary. Calls to a vocation, or calls to change a vocation, calls to a task, or calls to stop and just be quiet and remember why we are here. Calls to regret what we have done and repent. There are even calls to stop regretting and accept the fact that you are forgiven. Simply put, Jesus is calling you and I to leave our nets. The Bible makes clear the call of Jesus. The one who calls us is the same who gives us the strength and the resources to follow him. That same someone is he who invites you now to his table. This is Jesus. For what is offered is nothing less than his body and blood. The very things we need to sustain us as we answer his call to follow. May you know the love God has for you today and always.